Hello and welcome to the Limitless Show on the 65th episode. Today, what has changed? What has changed is that we used to stream over four different platforms on the social media, but from today onwards, we mark our journey of streaming only on YouTube so that all of you from all the various platforms can come and watch it at just one place without getting confused. So, on today's show, we have a very, very special guest. Her name is Preeta Pradhan. Preeta calls herself a wholeness coach. She's a life coach who is specialized in emotional transformation. She is a certified sound healer and a gong master. She is also advanced Ho'oponopono and clearing facilitator. She is a practitioner of energy medicine by Donna Eden, of tapping technique, which is the emotional freedom technique. She is certified Sivananda yoga teacher, intuitive dowsing expert and tarot card reader, animal communicator, practitioner of Reiki, and a caregiver coach. My God, I'm already panting. So imagine what you are going to receive once she is here, sharing her wisdom with you. So let's bring on Preeta with us with a round of applause. Hey,
Hi.
Preeta. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
That sounded such a lot. I didn't
Yeah,
do it.
I felt like, my God, this is like one after the other. It's just going on. How did you manage to master so many things?
Uh, like I said, sound found me. So everything else found me because I had no idea that these things existed.
Right.
I think, like they say, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Even the modalities appeared in that manner whenever I was ready.
Yes, it's amazing. Why don't you actually share your amazing journey with us? Because I'm sure you have quite a journey to share.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're talking about the journey of becoming a wholeness coach.
Yeah, from beginning as a software programmer to wherever you have come, and how has it been like? What a roller coaster ride it has been.
Yeah. So it seems archaic to say I graduated in 1985, and that's the time I started working as a computer programmer. And in those days, computers were very different from how we see computers today. So I'm of the generation of people who used punching cards, probably the last generation of people. Um, so from being a computer programmer, my career actually saw many twists and turns because I shifted to Assam for 14 years. My husband at that point having taken a job which made us move into the tea estates of Assam. And so for 14 years, I was there, and there I became a teacher. I was teaching computers and English in different subjects. And then in 2002, we came back to the city. We came back to the city of Kolkata. And 3 years that I was there from 2002 to 2005, I was already 40 by then. Uh, but I was trying to reinvent myself because programming had changed completely by then. So I did many things in those 3 years, trying to upskill myself. So um, I was a trainer with insurance. I was a communication skills trainer. I did a multimedia course, which was a learn while you earn program. So many things went into creating uh, a new me, you know. And then we moved to Gurgaon. And in Gurgaon, I managed to get a job in a startup where I began as a corporate communications manager. And I was there with them for 12 years. And in those 12 years, like it happens in a startup, you put your finger in many pies and you experience all the departments. So I actually worked with them for 12 years and grew to becoming the marketing and product strategy head. But while this journey was going on the professional level, at a personal level, a lot of things were unraveling. So while I had married in 1987,
Right.
my marriage saw a phase where I started feeling like there's nothing happening in the marriage, it's stagnating. And eventually in 2010 is when I separated from my husband. So it's been 12 years. And those 12 years actually saw me grow personally, because I faced a situation where I felt everything was very dark and I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. But that's the time when I actually started asking the universe to show me a way, like, where should I go or what should I do? Because till then, whenever I faced a problem in my life, and there were definitely challenges, I always felt I had the wherewithal to find my way. But this was a time when I felt that I kind of have exhausted all my resources and I just don't know which way to go. And that's when I got introduced to first the modality of Enneagram, if you've heard about Enneagram.
I haven't actually.
So Enneagram is used today as a personality assessment tool, but it is much more than that. Actually, it's a way to find self-realization also, because it
Okay,
tells you,
that's interesting.
yeah, so it tells you that there are 9 personality types, and each personality type, when they are under stress, how do they disintegrate, and when they are at a easy place in their life, how do they integrate? So it gives you, it's said that there's a prison and there is a key. They are both with you. You are in your own prison and you have the key to come out of it. So that was the first introduction to something which was completely new for me, and which showed me that, yeah, I'm at a place where I'm feeling completely disintegrated. And it was very beautifully shown in that group activities for that particular modality.
Mhm.
And uh, I realized that the kind of person I was, according to those 9 types, for me, feelings were really my reality. So I'm type 4 from the Enneagram, if whoever's familiar with Enneagram, with a wing of 5. So we also have wings. Your adjoining numbers are your wings. So I have a wing of 5. And I realized that I get caught in my own feelings and I start believing that my feelings are the only reality that I have to go through. And when I'm disintegrated, I mean, it just becomes, you just wallow in your own self pity. So my facilitator, my tutor, she told me that because you're a type 5 and you're disintegrated, you need to learn this tool called EFT, Emotional
Okay,
Freedom Technique.
right.
That's the tool which will hold you through this process of realizing that you're broken and you need to put yourself together again. So
So
that's how I
beautiful.
learned EFT.
Yes.
And then EFT led me to learn Reiki. And I mean, there are many experiences I went through in my healing journey. So from 2008 to 2012, for 4 years, I went through many things which healed me, where I didn't need to take the help of any medical practitioner. Like I didn't need to go for help from a psychologist or a psychiatrist. But through these healing techniques, I was able to find peace in my own life and find a direction forward.
Right.
uh, and while I was doing this personal growth journey, obviously, when you're walking this path, the corporate world or the world of your profession um, changes its texture for you. Like for me, it started feeling like I won't be able to continue doing my professional work for very long, because I was just losing interest in it. I was not interested in getting caught in the numbers game. And corporate is more about, your bottom line and ROI and things like that. And so in 2014, I actually did my certification for becoming a life coach with ICF.
Mhm.
And eventually in 2016, I left my job. And when I left my job, I actually had no plan. I mean, I did not say that, okay, now today I leave my job and from tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. I told myself that I will give myself 3 years. And in those 3 years, I will equip myself to becoming an effective life coach. And in that journey is when yoga happened, when sound healing happened.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things happened just like I just said that I will say yes to whatever comes my way.
Right.
And whatever opportunities and people would share their journey, and I would look at somebody else's journey and say, okay, yeah, this also sounds interesting. Let me try this out. So I said, I'll try everything and let's see what works for me.
Right.
So I did the 200 hours yoga teachers training from Shivananda Ashram. And while I was going through all of this, I happened to come across a person who was holding what is known as a sound bath. Actually, not even a sound bath, it was called a gong bath.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never heard anything about gongs or bath. I mean, bath, you know how we look at the word bath is just you have a shower. Why are we calling a sound healing session a sound bath?
Right.
But when I attended that workshop, I mean, I was just blown out of my mind
Right.
because I saw the impact it had on not only me, but also all the other participants.
Hmm.
And it's a lot of physics because it's about frequency, it's about vibration. So there's a lot of physics, and I'm not a science oriented person. I'm more from the humanities stream, and science was something that I used to always keep at arm's length till I needed to pass my exams. I was okay, but after that, nothing to do with science. So the physics of it actually kind of um, felt like a barrier,
Mm-hmm.
but it, like they say, the serum had gone inside. Something attracted me.
Yes.
And of course, it's also an expensive thing to learn because the instruments are expensive.
Okay.
Every instrument, will cost you depending on where you're buying it from. There's a certain cost involved. And I just told myself, okay, not now because I wasn't earning anything. And, but within the year, before the year had finished, something from within me said, no, I mean, I just have to invest in myself. And I bought the instruments. And by the end of the first year, I was already giving my first sound bath sessions.
And what kind of instruments, if I may ask, actually, because it's very intriguing.
Yeah, so I don't have all the instruments with me at the moment, but this is like
The singing bowl?
this is a singing bowl. Then I have over here, I mean, I don't want to let out the secret, but when I play, then you will hear the various sounds.
Right.
But we have like we have a singing bowl, we have a gong, which is a round plate. And I mean, I call my gong a baby gong because I have seen the larger gongs.
Right, right. I'm aware of gong though. I mean, yeah, gongs are played. I'm aware of them. And I know they are pretty large in size.
Yeah, so we have I have something called a pulse tube,
Okay.
which has a few holes, so it has a particular frequency to it. Then we have
Frequency.
tuning forks, we have flutes and rattles and chimes.
And you manage all of that alone
Yeah.
while, wow.
So sound healing is actually a very vast uh, healing modality.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some healers who will only use singing bowls. There are some healers who will only use a gong. And if you're a musician, I'm not a musician, but people who are musicians can use, like, say, a hang drum or or any one instrument and also do sound healing.
Right,
But the way I learned, so a sound bath is when you create a symphony of different notations.
right.
So that's why I mean, this is how I learned it, that you use a variety of instruments. So some of
Mm-hmm.
them are wind instruments, some of them are percussion instruments, some of them are string instruments. And
Mm-hmm.
together you create we have elements in our body. We talk about 5 elements:
Right.
earth, fire, water, air, space. So these instruments represent each of the elements. So to create a full sound bath or a sound journey, you need all the elements.
How
So, I mean,
beautiful.
somebody can do it with 5 instruments, somebody can do it with 50 instruments. It could be one person conducting a session, it could be more than one person conducting a session.
Yeah, as I think I read that you had some session on the 2020 International Yoga Day,
Yeah,
where you guys played for about 4.5 hours on a stretch.
more than that. It was actually, we started from 10 in the night till 6 in the morning.
Wow.
So it's a all night gong bath. And there we have 8 gongs, which are placed
Mm-hmm.
in a particular fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And the gong player is inside that geometrical pattern. And so we were three of us in that particular yoga festival event. We were three gong players, and we would take turns. Like we would play for maybe 1 hour and take rest, and then somebody else would come. So we would, like, by rotation.
Right.
So yeah, in 2020, actually we had two all-night gong baths. One was in Gurgaon and one was in Rishikesh during the International Yoga Festival. Yeah.
Amazing. But between COVID, I'm surprised because International Yoga Day happens on 21st of June. Wasn't it like a lockdown?
No, no, no. So International Yoga Festival happens in March.
Oh, okay.
International Yoga Day is on 21st of June, but International Yoga Festival in Rishikesh happens in the first week of March.
Oh, so just after that, the all the array of lockdowns began.
So in
I
fact, I just
understood.
returned from Rishikesh, and within the same week, my sound healing, came to a complete grinding halt because everything shut down.
Yes.
First, the yoga studio shut down on March 19th, and then later everything else shut down. And that was another journey, because then, and no sound healer till then was doing online sound healing, because
Yes.
every sound healer felt that no, we have to do it in person, we can't do it online. Online cannot
Mm-hmm.
be the same. But thanks to the lockdown, everybody adapted themselves, and we started doing online, because then we obviously had to invest in some electrical equipment like a mic, or,
Right.
and so now online sound bath is also happening, and quite effectively so, actually.
Amazing.
Are there any questions? Yeah, you're on mute, Anshu.
So I had been traveling for more than about 10-15 days.
Yeah, you mentioned.
And from when I came back, I have been having fever and
Okay.
severe cold and cough.
Oh dear.
So
Okay.
that's why you're seeing me sip on hot water.
Yeah, yeah,
And even then, I'm not able to actually stop myself.
yeah.
I'm sorry, audience. So I hope you guys will bear with me. Uh, Let me come to the next question. So basically, now, uh, you know, emotions are there in all of us. We are all human beings, and emotion is a very natural phenomenon, and especially the negative ones: fear, anxiety, especially fear. No matter what kind of fear, but we are all having a lot of fear in our heads. What when I got to know that you have been leading the life of a nomad, I was I felt very magnetized, frankly, Preeta, because I myself am a person who dreams of actually living my life out of probably same thing. You dump everything in your SUV and you can just go anywhere across the world. You're like a free bird, exploring cultures, meeting people. And so that's the kind of life even I want to have. So that was very fascinating to me. What I mean, weren't you fearful when you took the decision? Weren't you insecure and worried, who's going to take care of you in all the different locations? How are the people going to be? And so many, I mean, fears can be numerous. What helped you overcome those fears?
Um, So a very pertinent question, because I mean, I suppose everybody will have that question. And obviously it is not something which you can, do at a drop of a hat. So I have built this fearlessness over a period of time, um, by doing solo trips earlier. So first I started traveling with some groups, made myself comfortable going with strangers, because normally you travel with family and friends, and then you're in your comfort zone. But first I started traveling with strangers, like with some groups where I didn't know anyone, and I became comfortable with the fact that, yeah, okay, it doesn't really bother me. And then I did a trip with one friend. So we went to Italy and we, traveled around Italy. So that was again, so these are all things which are breaking down your fears. And then I traveled alone. I traveled alone over 60 days in Europe after I left my job. In 60 days, I covered some 20 cities. And in that travel also, I did not use a travel agent. Plus, I did not have any, I mean, I had bookings, but they were not very fixed bookings. It was like, I took a URail pass,
Right.
and I'm very fortunate to have a very wide network of friends and acquaintances in different parts. And thanks to social media, I just put it as a post that, I'm going to be traveling. So if you have friends and you can introduce me to them. And my friends were very generous. They introduced me to their friends. So wherever I went, I found that there was someone who could help me out, at least to just show me around initially.
Right.
And that was really a trip which I did with the idea of getting rid of my fears of traveling alone,
Right.
because you're traveling in a land where language is not always understood. English is not
Right.
the language everywhere, especially
Yes.
with like France and Spain and, Portugal.
Yes.
uh, Taking the rail pass and traveling either overnight or, daytime travel, and coming to a new station where there's no one to receive you. You're completely by yourself.
Yes.
Because if you're going through a travel company, then you are in a group. But here you're alone and you're encountering all kinds of situations, like your credit card getting swallowed in the machine and you don't know how to get it out.
Yes. Yes.
Or your luggage going into the chute and you don't know how to bring it out. I mean, all kinds of incidents happen. So I had many funny incidents and many scary incidents also. Like suppose I came back late at night from somewhere and I'm walking to my host's place and I lose my way. I don't know. I mean, I took a wrong turn and then I don't know how to find my way, because and your phones don't work all the time, because you have your data constraints. So some of these solo trips help me build that muscle that, don't worry, I can take care of myself. And this trip which you're talking about now, um so there are there are lot of, today there are many solo women travelers, so it's not such a unique thing. Like I meet so many youngsters who are now solo travelers. The only difference is that when you have a steady home, you have a home, that anything happens, you can always come back home. But in my case, so thanks to the pandemic and my life situation, uh, I had to take this. I mean, I decided to take this step because I felt that I needed to have some set income. Otherwise, life is very fluid in many ways, but you have no idea how much you're going to earn every month. Because as a life coach and a sound healer and a freelancer at that, uh, some months are very good, some months are not so good. So, and the pandemic really brought up this fear, like how will I manage my finances? So this, so putting my house in Gurgaon on rent and living off the rent seemed a really practical solution as far as I was concerned. And I love Rishikesh. I have been visiting Rishikesh for the last 11, 12 years. And I have come and stayed here for a month or so. So I was very familiar with the town. So my first thing was that, okay, let me just pack my bags, just put one suitcase. I mean, whatever fits into my, I have two suitcases in my car, which are my sound healing instruments. So they take up maximum space. And then in whatever is the balance space in that, whatever else I can carry. So some kitchen equipment, because if you're going to stay in rental apartments, you need some kitchenware, and some things which can sustain you for the next at least 3 to 6 months. So all weather clothing, like suppose you go to a cold place, you need the cold clothes. If you're going to a warmer place, so all kinds of things. So I packed my suitcase and I came to Rishikesh initially because there was a couple of things that are planned over here. And the idea is that for the next couple of months, wherever I feel that, like now I feel that my time in Rishikesh is probably coming to an end. And now I will start driving towards maybe Goa, who knows. And idea is that instead of just driving to Goa, like in 2 or 3 days, I will take halts in different places wherever either I have a acquaintance or a friend, or there is something that I would like to, explore. Like say a place like Gwalior. I would like to spend some time in Gwalior, just going to the city, because I have never been to Gwalior.
Nice.
And when you say fears, what are the fears? Today, with technology being so handy, the only fear I have is of driving alone. Like if I am sitting in the car and driving alone and I don't have a traveling companion, that's my only fear. There's no other fear.
Right.
And how I mean, one is, of course, if I put it out on social media, I'm sure I will get lots of traveling companions.
Right.
I'm sure nobody can travel with me throughout my traveling journey, but for short durations, I'm sure I will get companions.
Yes.
And I'm also very fortunate to have friends who have offered me their homes in different parts of the country, saying that when you're in this part, you come and stay with me. Don't worry about where you're going to stay. So I'm going to really bank on this and, make full advantage. So no fears, really no fears.
So basically, what I understand, Preeta, is that it didn't happen overnight. It's something that you built. It was just like a muscle.
Yeah.
Fearlessness was also a muscle that you built.
Yeah.
By experimenting with smaller things.
Yeah.
And then going larger.
Yeah. Like I must tell you over here, one year, a friend of mine and me, we did 100-hour train journey from Kashmir to Kanyakumari.
Oh, wow.
Just for the journey. So we spent half a day in Kashmir and a half a day, I mean, in Jammu, and half a day in Kanyakumari. Rest of the time, we were always on the train.
Always on the train.
So all these experiments, I would say, make you comfortable with, whatever travel can bring up for you. A reservation which goes wrong, or you have uncomfortable traveling partners.
Yes.
People who are on the train, or, people you meet. So you learn to, be adaptable. You learn to be more relaxed. You learn to take some discomfort also.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, I mean, it is a muscle that you have to build. You can't just do it, just one day. You can't get up and say, okay, I'm going to be a nomad. It's a muscle you have to, and also this relaxation with the fact that, I mean, people are nice everywhere. Generally, people are nice. I mean, you do meet people who are not always cooperative, but generally, and if you kind of build that, I would say, energy in yourself, then
yes,
I think you meet the right kind of people.
Yes, I totally agree on that part. Because earlier, a long time back, I used to always have questions that why some people attract the right people all the time, and some people always attract the wrong kind of people. And I always used to wonder, why is universe so cruel or so unfair to certain people? But then I slowly, over a period of time, as I got into self-development and as I started getting more and more into spirituality, I got my answers that it's all about you. Universe is only mirroring back whatever you are giving out.
So this is something that I also learned in my journey, that, I mean, if you're fearful and you're suspicious,
yes,
you will meet more and more people who will bring out that suspicion.
Yes.
So the more trusting you are and the more grateful you are.
Yeah.
For me, gratitude has been a huge lesson. And these are lessons I have learned from my different teachers.
Yes.
More trusting you are, you're operating from a vibration of trust. You will only attract people who are trustworthy.
Yes.
The more suspicious or the more doubting you are operating from a lower vibration, you will attract people who will make it even more concrete for you.
Yes.
And for fear, we say, no, it's false evidence appearing real.
Appearing real. Yes. Yes.
So, similarly, for anything, any experience, and like you rightly said, it is all about you. And that was my first hard lesson, that you can't complain, you can't blame anyone for what you're going through.
Yes.
Every time you complain, you have to just pause and say, what did I do to bring this upon myself?
Yes.
And that was a huge learning. So, like you said, spirituality, so yeah, that played a huge part in my personal journey, because I got introduced to Advaita, non-duality.
Hmm.
And that has been a game changer, because when I got introduced to non-duality, I was like, why did I not know this before? Because this makes life so much more, easy to understand, at least for me. And I, alongside, also explored a little bit of Buddhism. There's something called Jivan Vidya. There's a philosophy called Jivan Vidya. I even went and studied that. So I explored that what are the ways of life that people have created philosophies which allows them to live a more fruitful, more fulfilling life. But I came back. I mean, I couldn't find anything better than Advaita.
Yeah. Non-duality.
Yeah.
So true. So, in fact, I wanted to share a small thing from, because you just spoke about trust. So that brings back to my memory that I always have been a very trusting person. Always.
Yeah.
I never knew what suspicion is all about. And all of a sudden, a few years back, I was cheated in Forex, because I trusted the person who was dealing with me in Forex, and the way I was trustworthy. I mean, I was very trusting, and the way he spoke to me, I trusted, and then, I lost a few lakhs. But the lesson for, even after that, I never blamed that person. My instant reaction within myself was that it was your choice. End of the day, the decision that you made, that you have to get into Forex to make some quick money or something, so that was your poor decision. So you can't blame anyone. And then when one of someone came back to me and said, raised the fingers at me, that why are you so trusting? How can you go on trusting just anyone and everyone just like that? It made me actually question myself. Am I like normal? Why am I so trustful of everyone, but people are not? So is there something I need to change in myself?
Um, I would say the only thing that has to come about is some amount of discernment, because you can't also be blindly trusting everyone, but there is a certain amount of wisdom which comes through self practice.
Yes.
So you trust people, but you're not blind about it, you're
You're not
discerning.
blind. Yes. And slowly with time, yes, I developed a lot of intuition. So I became more intuitive and more discerning, as you rightly put it. So that was almost like, 10 years back. And now I have seen myself grow a lot from there. But again, I mean, even when people have cheated you, maybe you have taken the wrong choices and wrong decisions, and it's not all their fault.
I won't say wrong, because the way I look at it is that nothing is really wrong. You've taken a decision, it
Hmm.
didn't go the way you wanted it to go, but it must have taught you some lessons to make
Yes.
you wiser for the next time.
Yes.
I'll
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I think about 12, 13 years ago, I had parked my car somewhere in Gurgaon, and I went for half an hour to do some, meet a friend actually in the shopping area. I came back to find that my car had been stolen. Not my
Mhm.
car had been, my car had been broken into, and I was carrying a lot of stuff that day because there was some function in the office. So my laptop, my iPad, many electrical things that one normally electronics that one carries, completely taken away. They had broken the window of the back seat and removed everything. And not only one car, they had done it to 4 or 5 cars standing in a row. All the cars were stolen. And obviously that was very uncomfortable and a very expensive loss because you lose everything. And laptop going means all your data is also
Data,
gone.
yes.
But the amazing lesson it taught me was that, it didn't make me fearful. It didn't make me bitter. It just kind of, instantly, obviously you get a pushback and say, oh God, my car is stolen. First instant
Yes,
reaction.
yes, yes.
But after that, you realize that, okay, fine. I didn't miss my data, like in the sense that, okay, data is gone, data is gone. Like, what can you do about it? Like, I always go back to what one of my teachers has said, Byron Katie. And she says that suffering is only arguing with reality. So the more you
Yes.
argue with reality, the more you will suffer. Okay, it's gone. Now, what can you do about it? Revive it from somewhere? If you can, wonderful. If you can't, then that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest lesson of letting go. All the things that you had saved of, because it was an office laptop, there was a lot of official data, but fortunately, official data always had a backup. I was very good with that.
Yeah.
Of course, the backup wasn't current, like there was much data that was lost, and personal data was obviously lost. But I didn't blame the thief for doing what he did. Eventually I had to tell myself I must have owed this person something for this
Something.
brand new iPad taken away, and not being in a position to buy a new one immediately after that. So, of course, things happen and things are not always, in your favor. Like you said, you got cheated. So you get cheated in relationships also. So many times
Oh,
you meet a
yes.
person, you trust the person, and then the person, does something which breaks the trust or the relationship disintegrates. But these are all lessons. These are all to teach you. Like, what I have learned now is that our life is our customized syllabus for this lifetime.
Yes.
It's your personal workshop.
It's your personal workshop,
So
no doubt.
whatever you need to learn, those lessons will come in front of you, and only when you're ready. Like, the tougher the lesson, you have to tell yourself that I am tougher, and that's why these lessons are coming to me, because I need to learn those lessons. Like, I remember Oprah Winfrey saying something which really stayed with me. She says, life will first throw a small pebble at you. And if you learn the lesson, wonderful. If you don't learn the lesson, a slightly bigger stone will come at you.
Yes. Yes.
If you don't learn the lesson, a brick will come. If you don't listen, the whole wall will fall on you. And hopefully, then you will learn your lesson.
Yes.
So many times, these small pebbles which come at us or small stones, we don't learn our lessons. We go into the blame game and we complain and we become the victim, and we stay in the victim state, not realizing that we had to learn some lesson to change something within me. And so a bigger lesson comes. uh, you know like say disease, like people getting sick.
Yes.
I know people who, when they fall sick, they immediately become better people, because they immediately learn the lesson and they say, oh, okay, this is here to teach me a lesson. And there are some people who become victims to the disease. They feel that, oh, why me, it's happening only to me, and it's so much pain and suffering, and they just, they don't grow out of that pain.
But I have a question, Preeta. What you're sharing about lesson is perfectly all right. But lot of times, I think the lessons are not very maybe evident enough, or maybe the people have not evolved as much to be able to see it directly.
True.
So how do they learn their lessons if they don't even know what's the lesson they need to learn?
See, the easiest or the toughest, you can say the easiest because it's the simplest thing to do, but it's the toughest because the practice of it is the tough, is the lesson of gratitude. Whatever happens in your life, are you grateful enough? Or are you going into again, you're going back into that victim, that it is happening to me and I am the sufferer of this situation. Whatever I mean, we've gone through, like, pandemic has really brought about so much grief and so much sorrow for so many people. Very difficult, and that, I mean, it's not easy. Some, I mean, of families which lost so many people in a short span of time.
Yes, yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
we norm in normal, what we thought of as normal, if we had to lose parents, we lost parents over a period of years. We lost one parent, and then over a period of years, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 years, we lost the other parent. But
Yes,
now, in a span of 2 days or 2 months or 6 months, you lost both your parents. And in many cases, you were not even being able to, you know, be with them towards the last days, or do the rites because of the pandemic, or the, whatever the situation was. There were so many such stories. Now, what lesson will you learn at that point of time? Because the only lesson you can learn is of humility, of surrender, of gratitude, however difficult it is. It's really, I mean, sometimes it's really impossible. So, like they say, ki, when things are going your way and when you can be, tab shukar karo. Or when things are not going your way, tab sabar karo. Shukar and sabar is a lesson, right?
yes,
So, yeah, lessons are that only. I mean, just the lesson that, so what I also have learned is life happens to me, everything is happening to me, people are doing this to me, is the victim state.
yes,
And moment you become a little aware and you've done some self work, you can move into a space where you say, I choose to.
yes,
I can choose to be angry, I can choose to be hurt, but I take the responsibility in my hand to say that I am choosing this.
yes. And
Nobody
things
is
are
going to,
happening for me, not really to me. I'm
yeah,
not a victim.
yeah. So it's like, like they say na ki remote control आपकी life का किसके पास है? Who have you
Hmm.
given the remote control to? You
Hmm.
give it to everybody who impacts you.
Yes,
Suppose you're a person who's constantly saying that people are very mean to me. That means you've given the controls to everyone. They can
yes,
press any button and you will get
yes,
upset.
yes,
Rather, having the control in my hand and noticing that, okay, this person is saying this thing, I choose how I need to react.
yes,
So from reacting, which is a spontaneous activity or an autopilot activity, I move into a more conscious action where I respond.
yes,
Can I move from reacting always to responding, and responding with a conscious choice, which doesn't mean that you don't get angry, but you get angry because you choose to get angry. It's not a spontaneous response reaction,
yes,
which is completely uncontrolled.
yes. So true. Absolutely makes sense. So, do you love yourself, Preeta? And how do you take care of yourself? And how have you deepened this bond with yourself over a period of time?
I wish I had learned this lesson when I was a young girl. I didn't know this lesson. And so I suffered big time. Uh, Self love and self care are today my work. That's my work, because I learned very late in life. And I can only thank my dark moments for opening this door to me. Because if I hadn't gone through those dark moments, I would have never realized.
True, true, true. I think for all of us, same with me. All my life, I was going through dark alleys,
Yeah.
but only, after going through dark alleys, could I come out into the bright light and, understand the importance of it.
And self love also, the depth of self love is to understand, that you love yourself the way you are, not imagining yourself to be something different, or not being arrogant about what you have. Like, suppose I'm very pretty. So I look at myself in the mirror and say, oh, I'm so pretty, and I love myself because I'm pretty. uh, that can become narcissistic, you know or to look at the mirror and say, oh, I'm so ugly, and so I cannot love myself, which is, again, I feel disrespect of the creator. Because the way I learned it is that it's not about you being pretty or being ugly, or whatever. You are who you are.
Absolutely.
And can you just accept, first of all, accept yourself just the way you are and appreciate yourself. And I learned, I mean, a lot of my lessons have happened by watching nature. So I look at flowers, or I look at weeds and grass and, things like that. And I see, I mean, what lesson do you learn from a small little flower which is growing amongst boulders?
Yes.
So self love came to me to say that I have to first accept myself just the way I am.
Just the way I am. Yes.
Whether I have a dark skin or a fair skin, whether I have a bulbous nose or a pointed nose, it doesn't matter. I
Yes.
am what I am. This is a creation. And I
Hmm.
have to first accept myself. I can always improve myself
Yes.
because there's nothing called perfection. Perfection is completely man made. Imperfection is actually perfect. So, can we just accept our imperfections and truly love ourselves unconditionally? That unconditional term is difficult because you are always conditionally loving, even otherwise. Like, if you behave yourself, I will love you. If you do things my way, I will love you. But then you're putting condition.
Yes.
And this was one of the lessons I learned early in life was that, first I would say that, okay, don't be judgmental. So let's say that I like everybody, but I love a few people. When I became a little more educated, I understood that no, you love everybody because love is unconditional. And you don't, and it's not about verb, it's not love the action, it's love the being. You are love. So you just love everything and everyone because they are, not because they are something, but because they exist. And then you can have personal likes or dislikes. And first thing you have to love is yourself. Rather than saying that, oh, I am this horrible person, say that I am this person, I accept my flaws. The first thing you have to do is first accept your flaws. And I started with, I grew up in a family where, in Indian families normally, and more so in our family, dark skin was always treated differently.
Oh, same, same. Everywhere. I think it's the story of all Indian families.
And wearing spectacles.
Yes.
I was wearing spectacles from the time I was in class 3.
Right.
So I was treated, and in those days, wearing spectacles was treated as if you had some kind of a disease.
Yeah.
You know, oh, chashma lagati hai. And we were
I
called
know.
chishmish.
Yes, yes.
You know,
I know about ladies getting laser treated and then getting married.
yeah, because nahi, शादी नहीं होगी, चश्मा लगा के
शादी नहीं हो रही है. हाँ, हाँ.
you know. So I had to first look in the mirror and say that, tell myself that, yeah, I am dark, but I accept myself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when I didn't tell myself that I was dark and I wore spectacles, when anybody commented, I cringed.
Hmm.
I used to feel so small when somebody told me that I was dark.
Hmm.
I had to first accept myself that, yeah, I am dark and I am. I mean, I can change it if I want to. But
Hmm.
first I have to accept myself. मैंने बहुत सारे fairness creams लगाए हैं ऐसे. My mother would get me tubes and tubes of, in those days, Fair and Lovely had still not happened. There was some other cream called Ambi before that. बड़ी सारी
Okay.
Ambi के tube लगाई है मैंने. But as I grew older, I told myself that no, I have to just accept myself. And I had to tell myself in the mirror that, yeah, I am dark and I accept myself.
So that was affirmations actually.
Yeah. So,
Unknowingly, you were doing that affirmation.
yeah, and Louis Hay definitely helped when I got introduced to Louis Hay's work. I mean, I do the mirror work and I give it to all my coaches. It is
Hmm.
life changing for so many people when they look in the mirror and the first time they actually see themselves. And it's not about seeing your face, it's about looking into your eyes and looking at who is looking through the eyes that you are looking into.
Right.
And it's a very, very, it's a very, very emotional practice.
It is. It is. The first time I remember saying I love you to myself in the mirror and I cried actually.
Everybody, I mean, a lot of people have so much, and they're not able to cry because some of them say, like, I get the teary feeling, but I'm not able to allow it to come through because I feel, the mind says, oh, you're so stupid or you're so weak or some chattering will be happening over there. So for me, self love is in every action. How you take care of your body, how you take care of your mind, how you take care of your surroundings, and how you function with people. Are you respecting yourself, or are you doing those things to yourself that you expect others to do to you? First, do it to yourself.
Yeah.
So if you feel disrespected, ask yourself, am I respecting myself? Because when I'm not respecting myself, then I see disrespect in what everybody else does to me. And the second word we talked about was self-care.
Yes.
So from there came self-care, because um and self-care is very simple actually. You know, we don't need to spend money for that. Are you sitting in the sun for a few minutes or hours, just allowing your body to absorb vitamin D? That is self-care. Are you walking on the grass for 10-15 minutes a day? That is self-care. Are you drinking your water mindfully?
Mindfully. Yeah.
And what I have learned is that you don't drink water in gulp. You know, you're from Calcutta, so you'll understand. Bengalis say jol khabe.
Jol khabe. Yes.
And we would laugh.
We laugh. We laugh
You know,
actually.
but that is the right way. They
Yeah.
say eat your drink and drink your food.
Drink your food. Yeah.
So sip your water slowly, take a gulp, put it in your mouth, and allow it to go down.
Yeah. I call it say going puch puch.
And when you're eating your food, chew it so much that it becomes practically liquid and you swallow it.
Liquidy. So you swallow it. So
Yeah.
true. So true.
So
Yeah.
these are, I mean, self-care practices are actually simple, slow practices, which in olden days was the way of life. We lost
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring it on is because I learned about the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And I learned about what is known as the vagus nerve. And the reason I bring it up is because during the pandemic, I had a period when my blood pressure spiked. And I come from a family of hypertension. But I'm very careful with medicines. I don't like to pop pills. I mean, I used to, but when I became aware, I stopped popping pills. And I was very sure that I am not going to start blood pressure medicine, because I know it's a lifetime. Once you start it, then you have to have it for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Very rarely can people taper it off. And I said, no, I don't want to fall into that. So when I started doing my research, I realized that the body goes into hypertension because you're not processing emotions properly.
Right.
And you're not allowing the vagus nerve to be active. What does it mean for the vagus nerve to be active? And when you read about how to activate the vagus nerve, the activities, that's why I was saying what I said, because the first activity is, when you're having a shower, have a cold shower for 5-10 minutes, fully enjoying the shower. Sing on top of your voice. Have a belly laughter. Dance for 20 minutes. Do some deep breathing. What are these? These are all self-care practices.
Yes, absolutely.
Do a self-massage. Basically, what happens is we are always in the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight response, which is what causes the stress. And the body is made to be automatically shifting from sympathetic to parasympathetic, and that's how it manages itself. But with the current way of living, because we don't switch off our lights, we don't go off our digital devices, we are constantly surrounded by vibrations, we are always in the alert mode, we are always in the sympathetic nervous system. And vagus nerve is the switch to switch on the parasympathetic, which is the rest, digest, and heal mode of the body. So even when I'm sleeping, if I'm alert and sleeping, or I am stressed and sleeping, then the body is not getting the time to do the healing work. And the only way you can allow the body to heal is to activate your vagus nerve. So simple energy medicine, simple breathing practices, maybe your yog nidra. There are so many techniques which are very simple to incorporate,
Right.
but we have to slow down for that. If we are living a fast paced life and we are always caught in the mind and we are always rushing from one thing to the other, like when I'm brushing my teeth, am I brushing my teeth or am I thinking of the phone call I have to make immediately
Yes.
after the call?
Yes. Absolutely.
So can I enjoy my shower? Can I just for those 5 minutes not allow my mind to take me anywhere apart from feeling the droplets on my skin?
Yes.
So these are slowing tactics basically. So you have to slow down, become completely mindful, and give yourself those, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of a day where you're not with the mind, you're not racing with the mind. You are actually giving the body the message that all is well in my world.
Yes.
And when you give that message, body relaxes. And I think that's the best self-care you can do apart from applying different lotions and using perfume.
That's another topic for another day. I think we need to take up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't use any cosmetics.
Yes. Purely just water and self-care.
Yeah.
What are soul affirmations, Preeta? And does each one of us have a soulmate by default? And if at all we find ourselves alone, why are we so scared of this loneliness? Why don't we feel enough, that I am enough thing not there? And most of the time we feel insecure and lonely if we do not have a partner with us. So first of, I mean, the very important question is, does everyone have a soulmate? Is everyone supposed to have a soulmate? And what are these soul affirmations?
So this is a very deep question that you asked, and I'll see how best I can answer this. So, does everyone have a soulmate? Well, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know if everybody has a soulmate. But I would like to say that I discovered for myself that the true soul mate that we have is our breath.
Right.
Because when I stepped out of my marriage, and I'll bring in a little bit of my personal situation there, because I felt really alone,
Yes.
because I didn't have any children in the marriage. I was married for 23 years. I didn't have any children in the marriage. By the time I separated, both my parents had already passed on, and my elder brother, he lived in the States, so he wasn't in the country,
Right.
and so he wasn't aware of my situation. I wasn't sharing all this with him, so I was completely alone, and I would feel so alone that I would feel that if something happened to me on a Friday evening, till Monday morning, nobody will get to know. It's only when I don't reach the office that somebody will say, "Oh, what happened to Preeta? Why is she not here?"
Right.
And that's a time when I used to sit with myself and I used to ask myself, like, if I didn't have my breath, then obviously I'm not there, right? So why don't we honor our breath a little bit more?
Yes.
So I discovered for myself that my breath is my soulmate, because as long as, I mean, we come alive with the first breath, and with the last breath we go away. So what better soulmate than your breath? So fall in love with your breath
Beautiful.
first of all. So I would
Beautiful.
actually sit on the bed before going to sleep and, you know, breathe as if I was being loved from inside. That was a practice I built for myself. Coming to your next question as to soul affirmations and loneliness. So, if you have a partner, and what I have also learned is that because there is this conditioning, very deep conditioning, that marriage, you know, is a mandatory milestone.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it is so deep seated that even young girls, you'll ask them, they'll probably still say, in smaller towns, they'll probably still say that, हाँ मुझे तो शादी करनी है, because we've created this whole aura around marriage, and everything seems to be after after you get married, you will have, everything. Like, you'll have freedom, or you'll have choices, or whatever, everything after marriage.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
even as a young girl, when I wanted to not do B.Ed, I was not in favor of doing B.Ed because I didn't want to become a teacher. Not for any other reason, but in my family, there are lots of teachers, and I didn't find them very exciting as professionals. I used to find it bada boring sa job hai. Though when I became a teacher, I realized that there is more to it than, what meets
What
the
meets
eye.
the eyes? Yeah.
But and I told my father, no, I want to do MBA. My father said, no, you do B.Ed, then it is very, wherever your husband goes, you will be able to find yourself a job or whatever. And I was like, for that reason, I will not do B.Ed. Because I mean, ye kya baat hui? But a lot of girls, even in today's world, grow up wanting marriage.
Yes.
Why? Because this romantic notion that there is this person, and who will fulfill all my needs, and I will somehow become whole when I find this person.
Yes. Yes.
But unfortunately, what I have learned and what I see, and the kind of people I get for coaching, you're, I mean, it's a recipe of disaster, because nobody can complete you. And what I have
Yeah.
learned through, various studies is that when you're incomplete, and when you think you're incomplete, and you expect somebody else to come and complete you, possibilities of being disappointed are very high, because that person may also be incomplete in some way.
Yes.
So might not complete your circle. So incomplete. I mean, you're two incomplete souls trying to find completeness in each other. Uh, it's touch and go. You never know. And that's why a lot of relationships are also just plain compromises. They're just marriages of convenience. Yeah.
Most of them I've seen.
Yeah. And
Hardly a few couples you can really call soulmates in the proper sense of the word.
yeah, very rarely. And also, so the marriage becomes, a mandatory thing जो मुझे करना है, and then somehow निभाना है. Like somehow you have to manage it through.
Yes.
What I have learned is that if you do some self work, and you feel the wholeness within yourself, that I'm complete in myself, chances of you meeting another person who's also complete are much higher. And then when you meet two complete souls and they meet each other, they're not completing you, but they are just adding, like they say, the cherry on the cake.
Yes.
It's like a bonus.
It's a bonus.
So it's a joy to meet another person who is complete in himself or herself, and just brings more and more joy to you, rather
Yes.
than completing you and then you feeling shortchanged because that person doesn't have the ability to complete you.
Yes.
So yeah, and loneliness. I mean, I used to feel lonely when I was in a group. I'm sitting in a room full of people and I'm feeling lonely. So loneliness has got nothing to do with whether you're alone or not. You can feel lonely in a group, you can feel lonely by yourself. But I have learned that I am not lonely. I mean, when I'm in with myself, like there's a quote, no, like if you're bored with yourself, then how can you expect anybody else to enjoy your company?
Enjoy your
So
company.
you have to
Yes.
be your own best companion.
Yeah.
And I find that so true, because I live by myself. And I mean, the 2 years of the pandemic was the biggest lesson, because then you were taught, I mean, truly, I mean, it was like solitary confinement.
Yes. Yes.
And
So
it's
true.
not that you don't have your lonely moments. I mean, there were moments when I was in such a dark space. I used to think, Bhaiya, kab ye khatam hoga? Like, how will I come out of this? I'm tired of looking at people through a Zoom screen.
Yes.
Um, but having said that, I mean, I don't feel lonely by myself. In fact, chances are, and thanks to the pandemic, I've become even more of an introvert. Chances are that I might sit in a group and I feel, can I just go back to my own little cave and just be by myself, because I don't want to be, and I'm not very good with small talk. So I enjoy having deeper conversations. So if I have to meet in a group of people where everybody is just having small talk, I get very
Yes.
bored very soon.
Yeah.
And I
Same.
just want to be away from there.
Yes.
So, but loneliness is a very, very important point that you raised. Because I have come across many single women
Mm-hmm.
and even single men who fear aging because of loneliness. Because we are all aging. And then you start thinking that, oh, as I become older and older and probably weaker physically, who will take care of me? So, here, my way of looking at it is that, well, make yourself healthy and fit.
Yeah.
Don't live with this thing that you will fall sick just because you're aging.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be a reality.
No, it doesn't have to be a reality. True.
But also build a community around you so that when you have a requirement, there will be people who will stand by you. You'll always find, I mean, human beings are social beings, right? So, but आपको वो investment करना पड़ेगा ना. You also have to
True.
stand up for people if you want people to stand up for you.
Yes.
You have to make yourself available so that when you have a requirement, people are there for you. So it
Yes.
you know, and I learned this lesson from one of my early mentors who was against buying insurance policies. He told me, I mean, he showed me a different way of looking at insurance. He says, what is insurance? What are you paying this premium for? If you invest that same money in building a community, and I have seen how community works. पैसे भी आ जाते हैं, चीजें भी आ जाती हैं, लोग भी आ जाते हैं, but you have to build that community. And that person never invested in any insurance policy,
Yes.
you know. But he built a community of family and friends so that anybody falling ill or any kind of requirement, he never had any problem.
Right.
So these are very radical ways of thinking, but they really opened my mind to realizing that, always question
Yes.
what is
Yes.
being fed to you as, this is how things are done.
Yes.
Not necessary.
So true. Absolutely. I believe in communities, actually. I do believe in communities because it's not about blood relationship, it's about the relationships of the heart and the soul, where you truly, no matter whether you are related to each other or not, but you truly care for each other.
So during the COVID, last year during the Delta variant, I got the COVID and I was all by myself. But trust me, I mean, my friends, like my cousin, my family says that, you have gems as friends. I said, yeah, true, because they made sure that I was moved into a hospital, and I don't know how, by the grace of God, I even got a hospital bed during a time when nobody was getting hospital beds. And I was in hospital for 6 days, and I came back home, and I was alone, but I was taken care of because I had friends who really stood by me.
Amazing. So, Preeta, if we are energy, and it is said that we are all energy and the universe is completely made up of energy, then all these various diseases are nothing but the low vibrational frequency
Yeah.
of ourselves or our thoughts or whatever. Then it should be very easy to, just raise the vibrations and heal ourselves. But it isn't. Why aren't we able to heal ourselves? And how easy is it to raise these vibrations?
So it's not difficult to raise the vibration. But the problem with, so because it's energy is constantly in motion. And every thought we think is energy. So there are so many layers to raising your vibration. And first, it starts with the mind. What is the nature of your mind? How
Fickle,
kind is your mind?
constantly jumps from one thought to the other, 70,000.
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, the point is that how much attention we place on every uncomfortable thought that the mind throws up. So, can you shift your attention from those uncomfortable, unhappy thoughts to happier thoughts? But the way I look at it is, you'll see that there is a grid of emotional frequency. If you look up on Google,
Yes.
you'll find that.
Yeah.
And the highest frequency just below enlightenment is gratitude.
Right.
So my response to you is that forget about anything else. Start living from attitude of gratitude in every situation. So can you be in gratitude when it's a rainy day? Can you be in gratitude when you're stuck in a traffic jam? And what does it mean to be in gratitude? You can't be complaining and be grateful. So I always tell my coaches that notice, what do you complain about during a day? We complain about so many things. So when you say raising the vibration, the best way to raise your vibration is to bring in gratitude with more and more awareness in your life.
Right.
And while diseases are coming from lower vibration, but it's also about your body's immunity. So it's not just about thoughts, it's also about the kind of food you eat, the kind of, how are you, like, do we even spend half an hour in the sun without a sunscreen on our body? I mean, there is nothing better than sun to give you better immunity.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, the elements of nature are there for your support, but are you using it correctly?
Yes.
So when you say that, how easy it is, it's very easy. Rather, I would say it's very simple, but it may not be so easy, because to incorporate it in your life and to make it a way of living, like, fear is a very big one. Moment something happens, we all go in the fear mode. And from the fear mode, we do whatever we want to do. But can you drop that fear and come into a higher vibration, which is a vibration of surrender, which is a vibration of trust? And then from there, do whatever activity you want to do. काढ़ा पी लो, तो आप डर से काढ़ा पी रहे हो, डर डर बैठा हुआ है, लेकिन आप काढ़ा पिए जा रहे हो, कुछ नहीं होना उससे.
Yeah, COVID was a big, where we really got to know that people were dying more than COVID out of fear. Fear was one of the biggest reasons people died.
Yeah, and actually that's the time when, I actually shifted my work from just sound healing to more of life coaching, because I brought in the self-care practices.
Yes.
Breath is your best support, because
Yeah.
when you are tense, when you are fearful, your breath is going to be short.
Yes.
Short, fast, so can you relax your breath? And it's not about doing pranayam is more of a physical activity, but can you do mindful breathing to relax,
Yes.
to bring your attention to the present moment? Because like, again, to come back to this whole idea of fear, what if I fall ill? I mean, we're all going to die. And like I say, आपका fuel tank में उतना ही fuel है. You can't increase the fuel. But what you can increase or improve is your capacity to use that fuel.
Yes.
Like, if you drive your car better, then the same fuel can take you a little longer distance.
Longer distance and in a better way.
Tank की capacity तो उतनी ही है ना. So your capacity of prana, your life force, is fixed.
Yes.
It depends on how you use it. So the slower you breathe, the longer you will live.
Yes.
Now, people say, oh, he died very young, or she died very young. I mean, how do we know that what is the right age to die? We don't know, right? There are so many aspects to that. I mean, that's another longer discussion, but I might die the very next moment. So that's one fear which we have. I mean, difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but when you talk of fearlessness, that's the fearlessness I have. I'm not fearful of if I'm going to die tomorrow. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die. So once you're out of that fear, now you see how can you bring in more and more life into your living. Can you really live not from fear, but from trust, but from surrender, from a relaxed space? I mean, I don't know where this wisdom has come from me, but the first time in Gurgaon, I experienced an earthquake. I did not have even one iota of fear. Man. I was like, okay, if I have to go, I have to go. I mean, I could see the building in front of my eyes just swaying like this, but I didn't panic.
Right.
Uh, so something inside of me is trusting, but I've also learned that you can build that muscle of trust.
Yes.
So it needs, again, it comes back to the same thing that you need to do self work
Yeah.
to realize that when we die, but at least when we live fully.
We live fully. No doubt about it. I actually just finished reading Many Lives, Many Masters. It's a beautiful book, and it really actually tells you
Yeah.
how it is, how we have to learn these lessons. We come here to actually learn those lessons and move on. And it's not the end. Death is not the end, because the soul is definitely immortal. The body definitely is just like a temple. It has to go, it has, because it has a life. But then the soul does not have, and it will keep changing the bodies till we learn all the lessons that we have to learn.
Yeah. True.
So we need to keep, I think, everyone, I mean, people talk about spirituality as if it is something completely different from them. We are spiritual beings, and we are here to learn our lessons, and the sooner we understand that, the better.
Yeah. So actually, I mean, what does it mean to be spiritual? It just means that you respect life, and then like I also say that, we talk of the divine grace, कि भगवान की कृपा होगी तो भगवान की कृपा हरदम है, हर चीज में है,
True.
and it's also always there. But do you allow that divine grace to flow through, or do you
Yes.
halt it
Yes.
by your own agendas? I think my life should go here, 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 here. These are my milestones.
Yes.
आपने You've given the message to the divine grace that, you know what, you wait. Let me first finish my work, and then if there's still some time left, you can come in.
Yes. So true. And to achieve our agendas, we'll manipulate, we'll do whatever crooked thing we need to do to pull others down. I mean, we will do everything possible to make sure our agendas are met in our lives.
True.
So where will he come in? What are the steps which are very, very intrinsic to mastering oneself?
First, understanding that we have the power of attention. Why do we want to master ourselves? Because we feel that we suffer, and we suffer, like I said earlier, because we are arguing with reality.
Yes.
And what is arguing with reality? The mind. So before we come onto this path, we think me and the mind is one. So mind is jumping around, so I am also jumping around with the mind, like, wherever the mind is taking me, whichever branch it is jumping on, the monkey mind, and I am also with the
Jumping along
monkey,
with
I'm
it.
jumping everywhere.
Absolutely.
So the first thing is to realize that I am not the mind. So like Nisargadatta Maharaj's quote is that, how does it matter if the mind is noisy or not noisy if you are not the mind? So this practice of bringing a certain distance between the activity of the mind and my awareness. When I'm aware, and when I know that I have this power of awareness, where do I place it? I can choose to place it on the mind when the need is to place it on the mind. But when the need is not there, then I can choose to place it on what I call the no mind. Everything else. Mind is just a small part of your whole existence.
Yes.
But unfortunately, from the time we are children, we are taught to place attention on the mind, because mind is what we think that drives us. But like we say, that mind is a good servant, but a bad
Bad
leader,
master.
bad
Yes.
master. But we treat it like the master.
We treat it absolutely. We get
So
treated like we are the servants of our mind.
absolutely. So to say that master and servant relationship, then there has to be a separation. There has to be a realization that the mind can keep saying what it wants to say, but I have to choose to pay attention to it. What do I choose to pay attention to? Suppose it's saying, oh, it's very scary out there, or people are very, untrustworthy. You don't have to believe it. You can tell the mind, yeah, I heard you, but let me take my own, you know, make my own judgment. So that's the first realization. Just the realization is a huge freedom. Now, once you realize it, you realize that you're constantly oscillating also. So then the practice is to make this muscle of awareness stronger and stronger. So, like we always say, that while we go to the gym to build our physical muscles, we have to go to the spiritual gym to build this muscle of awareness.
Right.
So it's a practice. Like I always say, forget about, like somebody will say, oh, but I'm not there. You are on the journey. Just be on the journey. There is nowhere to reach, because there is no point where you will reach and say, oh, I have arrived. Because the
I
moment you
have
say I
arrived.
have arrived, you're not arrived. You're still there.
Yes.
Like there's a story of two monks. So the senior monk and a junior monk, and the junior monk is asking the senior monk, you've already got enlightened. So what is it that you meditate so many hours in a day for? So his answer is to stay where I have reached. So if I don't do this practice regularly, then I will be back to where I was earlier.
Yes. Yes. So true.
So when you say self mastery, it is just about understanding that I'm not the mind, creating that space, and becoming more and more, to use one of my teacher's language, seduced by the space. Find it so juicy and delicious that to just stay there, not get caught with the mind. The mind can keep saying what it wants to say. It's just a background noise.
Right.
And that's it. I mean, that's the only practice. Actually, that's what Advaita has taught me, that life is actually very simple. But you have to keep doing this practice so that you stay in the remembrance that you're not your mind.
Yes. True. So wonderful. Would you take us through the sound healing right now?
Yeah, sure. Tell me.
Okay. So sure. I'll mute myself and all yours.
Yeah. So whoever's watching, and to you also, Anshu, just relax, uh, sit comfortably, you know, recline back if you can, and just bring your attention to your breath and gently close your eyes. So, how sound healing works is by creating different vibrations and frequencies, and you allowing the vibrations and frequencies to reach you through every pore of your skin. It's not about just listening to the sounds, and also not allowing the mind to go into the questioning or the inquiry mode as to where is the sound coming from, but allowing the body to feel the sound vibrations and sink into it. So just set an intention for yourself. So, like I said earlier, even intentions have a frequency. So, just set an intention for yourself that you will allow the sound vibrations to just travel through your body. And just keep your attention on feeling the sound and allowing your awareness to go deeper into the sound. Keeping your eyes closed, body relaxed. Just bring your attention back to your breath, just being with the breath, feeling it enter through your nostrils, Fill the lungs fully. And then very gradually get completely exhaled. Take your time. Very gently, you can open your eyes whenever you feel ready.
Thank you so much. Such a beautiful session. Such a beautiful. I'm feeling so relaxed. Every cell of my body is feeling relaxed.
Yeah, and this was just a short session. Normally, in a session, I expect people to lie down and absolutely, like surrender your body weight and just be there.
Yeah.
And yeah, can be very, it's a very, some people have an outer body experience. Some people, yeah, because your brainwave activity actually slows down.
Right.
So you move from the beta state to the alpha or theta or delta states. Yeah.
Yes. I think you have some videos on your website as well. Yeah. So I think I've given the links in the description. So anyone in the audience who wants to probably experience more of it, they can check that out. And of course, you can get in touch with Preeta on her social
So
media or your website.
physical sessions have a completely different experience. Even for me, like for me to play in a physical session is very different from how I play on an online session, because online has some limitations.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, but both sessions are very effective, and it's
Yes.
effective not just for relaxation. uh, People go into spontaneous meditation. People who are unable to go into meditative states otherwise have told me that when they attend a sound healing session, they go into a meditative state without doing anything, without, by just allowing the sound vibration to take them there. I'm working with pregnant women, women who are in their second trimester. They take regular sessions from me, and they really feel the calmness and connecting with the baby in the womb.
Wow.
um, Cancer patients, or patients suffering from any kind of mental anxiety issues, they benefit also a lot. Yeah.
Amazing. So you actually practice so many different modalities, like even Reiki, EFT. So which module, I mean, which one out of them have you found to be the most beneficial, especially in the cases of people who are highly negative, having very, very low vibrations, low frequency, and low negative energy, constantly creating chaos in their lives?
So, for me, the dilemma that whether I was a healer or a coach, uh, took some time to settle, because I see myself more as a coach and less as a healer. But the kind of person you're describing would definitely need coaching, because just through healing, I'm not sure if I can bring about that mindset change. So the way I work with people is I say, okay, what are you feeling right now? Like, what is the emotional, you know? And I guide them through a process of actually releasing that through breath work and energy medicine or tapping.
Right,
So I use a mix of modalities to allow them to first physically release whatever emotion. Like suppose I am very fearful,
right.
or I'm very anxious, or I'm very jealous.
I'm very jealous. Yes,
So jealousy, so these are all thoughts, these are all in the mind.
right,
I'm jealous is a thought, but that thought has got such a tight grip on you, your whole body kind of reacts to it. So I guide them through a process where I ask them to first see the thought, and then feel the thought in their physical body, and then through a practice of breath work and tapping and affirmation, I get them to release it from the physical body. For me, that is the most powerful practice, because I realize that I can keep explaining to you that if this emotion is negative, you will not understand, or you will understand intellectually, but you won't be able to apply it in your life.
Correct.
I know it, I know the theory behind it.
Right.
When the moment arises, I am still back in that.
Yes, because it's a pattern.
Yeah. So I give them the practice of saying that moment you realize that you are getting caught in that emotion, feel the emotion in your physical body and release it from there through any of these practices, whether it's breath work, whether it's tapping, whether it's doing some energy practices, you release it from the physical body. And when you keep doing it and it becomes a habit with you, then you have a self-care tool with you. It's your emotional toolkit. Use it any way you which, you know like somebody was, say somebody is telling me today in the morning that I need to have this very uncomfortable conversation with a colleague of mine. I have to give a negative feedback, and I know he won't take it very kindly. So I taught her of how to first clear her energy regarding whatever her thoughts were, whatever her beliefs were about the conversation and how it would go. I said, you first relax, you release your apprehensions,
Hmm.
and then do a mock conversation with this person
Hmm.
energetically, as if you are
Hmm.
visualizing the person sitting in front of you, have that conversation. And
Hmm.
whatever that brings up for you, that brings up anger, that brings up annoyance, that brings up judgment, whatever it brings up for you, then you release it from your energy and then go and
Hmm.
have a physical conversation. You'll see the texture is different.
Right. Definitely. No. Okay, and now we just, I know the time is already like 1 hour 42 minutes we are into this. So I think I would just ask you, what is one last message that you would want to share, Preeta, with all the audience that are watching you today? What is that you want to leave them with?
So I will, start from where, from where we started the conversation about being fearless. So we have many fears, which are all because of social conditioning. I would say that, first of all, realize that suffering need not be your reality.
Yes.
It's a choice. Like suffering is a choice, so is happiness a choice. So choose happiness. And how to make yourself happy? Uh, Stop arguing with reality. It is so. So acceptance of whatever is happening, and then seeing how I can bring in joy. And like I said, learning the attitude of gratitude. I feel that moment to accept your situation, okay, this is so, whatever your situation is, seeing how you can bring in more gratitude over there and bringing in the practice of being mindful. I think रामबाण अगर किसी को कहते हैं तो मेरे हिसाब से तो यही रामबाण है. Acceptance, gratitude, and what did I say the last thing was? Um, Acceptance of the situation, bringing in gratitude, and just being in appreciation of whatever you have.
That itself is gratitude, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, just two of them, mainly accepting what you have or whatever situation you are in, and being grateful for even the positive or whatever according to worldly view looks negative to you.
Just being
But
gratitude. Like the
yes,
point is that it may not be convenient,
yes,
may not be to your choice,
yes,
but just being grateful for that. Yeah.
yeah. And if you believe in the philosophy of, everything that happens for good, then you will find later on that, yeah, everything has a plan.
Happens for a reason.
Yeah,
And also, like, you know look at it from the perspective that, is it for the highest good, is it for your highest good?
yes,
So it may not be comfortable. So the third thing I was saying was be fearless. Like question everything. Like question everything and be fearless. So because there's nothing to fear. Why do we fear? We fear because we feel we are not supported.
Yeah,
But the universe is always supporting you.
always supporting us.
So this understanding of oneness, this understanding of advaita, there is no dvait, there is no separation. Once you understand that, then I think fearlessness is the only way forward.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Preeta. I think it was such a lovely session and full of so much of golden nuggets. I mean, if people can pick up just even one out of this session, they can change their lives literally. And I'm sure the people who come to this show to watch, they are the ones who have that burning desire to really, be more, have more, and feel that limitlessness or every moment.
We're
So
all limitless. We just have to believe it.
we just have to believe it. We just need to experience it every moment, which
Yeah.
we do not because of the mind. We spoke about a mind. So if we can get separated from that and experience it every moment, we are all limitless.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really grateful to you for joining me over here.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
No, no, it was absolutely a pleasure and an honor to have you here, and really, really got inspired by our conversation. And all the best to you. May you impact many, many, many more lives, millions of lives, and lead a fearless life.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And all the best to you too.
Thank you so much. All right. I hope all the audience, you really enjoyed it and you were inspired to implement even, a few things, because she just shared that breath is our soulmate. Breath is nothing else, but it stays with us from the time we are conceived in the womb to the time we take that last breath and we say bye bye to this material world. So, if we can be with that breath, be aware of it every moment, and use it in a very, very mindful way, taking slow and deep breaths, then we can manage so many of our emotions. We can manage our mind like a master, like a true master. So, this is always something that I wish for all of you and for myself. I am limitless, and I want you to feel that limitlessness in your life every moment, every day as well. So, take care. Bye bye. I'll meet you again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. with another amazing, amazing guest. Till then, take care. Be limitless. Bye bye.